we're going to make it happen for heaven knows how many years to come.
David, you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, I have a regards to the industry in general. How do you think? How has the face of daytime changed since you made your humble guiding light days?
Well, I even I preceded Guiding Light by about 5 years on, I was doing theater in New York and commercials and everything else. But I think my first venture into daytime was I was a delivery boy on Ryan's Hope, which must have been 1975 or 6 or 7. And compared to the way we shoot now, back then it just seems quaint because Ryan's Hope was a half hour. They did just one episode. They did it in sequence on tape, and then they went home. So it was like, you'd do 21 pages that were in sequence and made sense, and then you left and came back the next day and did them. And now it's, because of technology getting better, I think, is that, they can edit tape better, and everything's digital, of course, and so now we shoot things like movies. You shoot way out of sequence, and you shoot parts of scripts just because the set is standing up, and whatever's written in that set, that's what you're going to shoot today. So it's very difficult to get an angle on how it's going to look. Now, this is not disturbing for actors at all because, that's the way they've been shooting movies for 100 years. But in terms of the progression of how soaps work now, it's way different, and you're going 100 miles an hour, and you're shooting about, even with the reduced minutes of what we're doing now, we're shooting 50, 60, 70 pages a day.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And
so
I would imagine you're there morning till dusk.
Yeah, and many times, yes. And the job I wouldn't want to have is editing all this together.
Yeah, right.
Because those people are... Those people are very busy people.
Somebody in the chat room, he goes by It's Only the Soaps, asked, who does Jerry share his dressing room with from AMC?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe
and
you guys need
today,
to have a meet.
Except I peeked in there, and the room was dark, so whoever I'm sharing the room with didn't work today. But it's kind of strange for the people who are there all the time, like the stage managers. Every 5 weeks, in comes this new cast, and then 5 weeks later, in comes another cast, and it certainly keeps people fresh. But it's a very interesting way to shoot a show, and it's part of the model that Prospect Park has come up with that makes it doable to do these shows.
I think maybe you guys need to have a meet your neighbor day.
I know. Once all the dust settles, we're just going to have one day before all my children goes back to the West Coast to just go out to dinner.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. I mean, I don't know if you are the type that likes everything spick and span and everything in its place, and maybe somebody you're sharing with might not be like that.
Oh, I know. I hear you. And I'm not a spick and span guy, but I am a neatnik. I like to have things in their place, or else if they're not in their place, I can't learn lines. So it has to be, somewhat neat.
Now, speaking of learning lines, how do you do that? Do you have a specific way of doing it and a specific place of doing it?
Well, now it has changed again because we used to get scripts 4 weeks in advance of the actual date where you tape it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a little closer, and I think we go back May 20th. So I will start getting scripts around May 13th.
Wow.
But from what I'm hearing, I'm going to be a very busy boy, so I'm going to be having lots of scripts. So, Yeah, I get the scripts and look at the day and how many we're shooting in that day. Then I break it down, and then I learn it accordingly. You know, sometimes you have to stay up quite late to stay on board, because the last thing you ever want to do is fall behind, because if you fall behind, you're lost.
Right.
They just keep taping, and, you know, you have to stay on top of it. So, like I say, I'll get scripts May 13th, and believe me, I will start learning them on the morning of May 13th.
Now, do you guys, because it's done differently, do you guys get to do more than one take, or is it more or less one take, you're done?
No, it's still similar to what we did on the network. It's you try and get it in one take, and sometimes the actors mess up, or the director messes up and gets the wrong shot, or lighting's bad, and you know, there's dozens of reasons why you could do the scene again.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not strict about, you know, getting it all in one take. What they want is a good show. So,
right.
Yeah, so whatever department screws up, they correct their mistakes, and then we do it again and try and get the best scene possible.
And it's a learning experience, too, for everybody with the way things are being done now. So you have to expect mistakes initially, and I would imagine it'll get better as time goes on.
Especially, you have to expect the new people to,
mm-hmm.
you know, have at least 3 weeks to, you know, get used to things, and you know, it takes 2 days to find out where the men's room is, and you know, and where the food is, and the coffee, and everything. And
the
then you got to
important
get
things.
yeah. And then you got to get comfortable with the people, the new people that you've just met and you're working with in a hurry. So, you know, there's a learning curve situation where 3 weeks until the real talent that they have naturally shows up.
Right. Yeah, and I would imagine it's that way with anybody that's new to the industry, or even work just a little bit, maybe only on one show. And a soap is so much more than just doing a primetime show or a movie, because, like you say, there's a lot of scripts, and you have to learn all of that for one day. It's not for a whole movie. So
yeah,
they have to get used to that.
You have to get used to the enormous amount of material, and then if they're doing a recast like Matthew is, or
mm-hmm.
Destiny is, they have done a lot of homework, watching tapes and, you know, learning the story that came before they took over the role. And so, you know, that's another learning curve that's separate from, you know, just getting comfortable.
Right.
So these people are going through some tough times. And then, like Corbin Blue, who's creating a new character, you know, he's got to have time to get to know Erica and myself and how we perform, because he works a lot with us.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to know some backstory, too. So there's an awful lot of homework for everybody.
Now, have you been approached by, I don't want to call them old people, but older, you know, adults that have been used to watching these soaps on TV for the last 40 years or so, saying, you know, okay, it's back on. Now, I can't watch it because I don't have a computer, or I don't know how to work it, or anything like that. Have you had any of that kind of reaction to you?
I have, and they asked Erica and myself to address some of that we made an instruction video, essentially, for people who might be of a generation that's, let's say, over 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And our emphasis is how simple it is to do it. And once you get it done and on whatever receptor you have, a television that's online ready, or a PC, or a tablet, or a phone, once you get used to Hulu and Hulu Plus and iTunes, you will just curse all those years that you had to do a VCR, or you had to watch it live off the air, or, you know, whatever thing you know, TiVo even is like obsolete now. This is like a soap opera person's dream, because They can watch it when they want. They can watch it again.
And
they can go back. If they're on episode 18, they can go back and look at episode 2 and find out what. I mean, it's like reading a book. You can just go back. And as reading a book, you can pick it up anytime you want. And if you wake up at 3 in the morning and you get a headache, well, you take your Advil and, I think I'll check in on One Life to Live. And there you are. So we have been emphasizing this is the best thing that's ever happened to soap viewers. And it's resonating not only with kids like, my son's age. I got 2 sons in their mid-20s. Well, this is the way they watch. They watch it on demand. They don't wait for 1 o'clock to come around. Mm-hmm. And they watch it on whatever they want to watch it on, their PC or their phones and their tablets or even, heaven forbid, a television.
Yeah.
and so this is the new way of doing things, and continuing story like soaps are just built for this kind of technology.
That's true. That's true. And I have to laugh about one thing is because my daughter and actually all my kids now I think about it, they'll not only have the TV on, but they'll have their computer on or their tablet or whatever they're using.
Yes, right.
And sitting there watching both things. And I'm forever walking into the living room or their bedroom and saying, why do you have to have the TV on and have the computer on? How could you watch 2 things at one time? Mom, I am. Don't worry about it,
Mom, they're multitasking.
Yeah.
They've got 2, maybe 3 things going.
I like that term.
Yes.
Well, I'm good at multitasking, but it's not easy to watch the TV and then something online at the same time for me because I like to know what's going on, especially when something is fast-paced. And when you're watching it even like on your phone, I mean, that's a tiny screen. You really got to pay attention, So I'll stick with the TV or the desktop and watch one thing at a time. But it is wonderful to be able to watch One Life to Live and all my children at any time of the day or the night and watch it more than one time.
That's nice. It's just
a dream.
Yeah.
It's a match made in heaven between technology and the people who want to watch continuing stories.
Exactly. Well, I don't want to keep this caller waiting too long because I do believe that this caller is the one from way far away. So let me try to go ahead and pick this up. Would you mind, Jerry?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
hello,
Rachel,
Pam?
is this you? Yes, it is.
Hi, Pam. It's Rachel calling from Australia.
Hi.
Hello, Rachel. How are you going? Hi, Pam. Hey, Jerry. How's it going?
Good. What time is it there?
It's about 9:30 in the morning on Friday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, how you doing, Jerry? I just wanted to say congratulations on the new show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm doing very well. Like I was telling Pam and David, I just got back from where they taped today, and it was a very nice day where you're going to see on Fridays, it's going to be like a recap, and then they're going to tease you for what's coming up the next week, and then they're going to have interviews with actors and maybe some outtakes, and it's just going to be a good time. And I taped that today, and that's going to be a very successful thing. And then, of course, starting next week, we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with new shows.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how are you finding the process so far? Are you having a good time doing it?
Yes, I'm getting used to it now, and we're all sort of getting into a groove, and I think that's going to improve the product that you see on the screen too, because we're all sort of getting into our comfort level.
Oh, that's great. Any chance of Bad Clint returning, or we have to wait and see?
I think there's a very good chance.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. and I'm not giving away too much or anything specific, but I think there's a really good chance of that happening. Yes.
Oh, that's good. I'm very happy for you. It's actually a bit difficult for me to watch the show here in Australia, but I've found a way of doing so. So I just wanted to let you know that you've got support everywhere, and it's so great to have you back on the screen. We've missed you so much, so it's fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling, and thank you for finding a way to find us.
Yes, yeah, it's been a very interesting experience, but I want to thank a few friends